My name is Nada Abdul Wahab and I chose task 2 on which how COVID-19 affects us or how it specifically affects the respiratory system. This topic actually made me interested because I heard that many people are dying because of coronavirus while it has the same symptoms as a normal cold or influenza. So this topic made me interested in it and I wanted to know why do they die from it. Actually, the viral infection or the COVID-19 affects many or attacks many organs in the body, but here it's mainly with the uh, lungs or the respiratory system. And it also affects how the process of gas exchange. So here is a healthy alveolus with normal gas exchange, and this is an infected alveolus with COVID-19. This is the moderate alveolus with reduced gas exchange, and here's the severe alveolus with greatly hindered gas exchange. So I'm going to recap quickly about the normal gas exchange. So here's the alveolus, which is the last part of the bronchi or in the lungs. It is covered with capillaries. This is the capillaries, in which red blood cells travels through. Red blood cells holds carbon dioxide, and the alveolus holds oxygen too. And here is where the gas exchange happens. The red blood cells releases carbon dioxide and it pulls the oxygen into it through type 1 alveolar cells because type 1 alveolar cells are thin enough to make oxygen pass through, while type 2 alveolar cells secrete surfactant, and surfactant prevents the alveolus cells from collapsing. So now, how does the virus attacks or affects the alveolus cells? So here's the viral infections. So the spike proteins covering the coronavirus binds to receptors primarily on top of type 2 alveolar cells. The virus injects its RNA. The RNA hijacks the cells, telling it to or giving it orders to copy and release them into the alveolus. The host cell is destroyed, and this process and the new coronavirus infect neighboring cells. So this is how the virus infects the alveolus cells, and it makes more copies. Now, how does the immune system of our body respond to this virus? So after the infection, type 2 cells release inflammatory signals that result in the release of macrophages. As you can see here, type 2 release inflammatory signals that result in the release of macrophages. The macrophages are immune cells helping in the attraction of the COVID-19. Help prevents the attraction of COVID-19. Then macrophages release cytokines that cause vasodilation, which allows more immune cells to come to the site of injury and exit the capillary. And then fluid accumulates inside the alveolus. As you can see, this fluid accumulates here, and also fluid inside the alveolus. The fluid dilutes the surfactant, which triggers the onset of the alveolar collapse, decreasing gas exchange and increasing the work of breathing. So this fluid prevents the surfactant from being released, or it decreases the surfactant from being released, and thus decreasing gas exchange and increasing the work of breathing, which makes it hard for the person infected with COVID-19 to breathe. Then the neutrophils are released to the site of infection and release reactive oxygen species ROS to destroy infected cells. As you can see here, the neutrophils are released and they release reactive oxygen species that destroy infected cells. At the end of the process, type 1 and type 2 cells are destroyed, leading to the collapse of the alveolus and causing acute respiratory distress syndrome. And as you can see here, this is the severe one in which type 1 and type 2 cells are destroyed. So, impaired gas exchange. When the immune system attacks the area of infection, it also kills healthy alveolar cells. This results in three things that hinder the gas exchange. The first thing, alveolar collapse due to loss of surfactant from type 2 cells. So the alveolar collapses or closes. The second thing, less oxygen enters the bloodstream due to lack of type 1 cells. As we said, that type 1 and type 2 cells are destroyed, so less oxygen enters the bloodstream and more fluid enters the alveolus. And when this severe condition happens, the person might die because he could not take in breath, or he could not exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. So no oxygen enters the body, and no oxygen means no organs work, even the heart. So the oxygen could have heart attack or anything, any disease, and he would die.